stitching friends. I'm Amy. I'm the Globetrotting Stitcher, and it's really great to be back with you today. This is kind of an exciting episode for us because this is actually, I don't know the exact date. I'd have to go back and look, but this is basically like our 4-year anniversary Flosstube. We didn't plan anything special, so there's no balloons or parades or anything, but we were just talking a little earlier about, wow, it's been 4 years since we started making videos, and it's kind of hard to believe we're still at it. But apparently we're having a good time, and it's been a wonderful way to connect with the community. So yay, 4 years on Flosstube. And I wanted to mention, we got, when you make Flosstube videos, and those of you who make them know, you tend to have kind of a slow but steady growth in subscribers over time as new people find you, and some people like you, and some people you're not their cup of tea, and that's fine. But we've, in the last couple of weeks, have had a pretty significant bump in subscribers. So if you are new to our channel and you've recently discovered us, welcome. Thanks for sticking around. It's great to have you. And of course, all of you who have been with us for a while, thank you so much. We really love knowing that we have all kinds of friends out there. It's also fun because on our last video, Gary made a joke about us having like 4 international viewers, and a number of you piped up to tell us where you're from. And it's always interesting to me to find out where in the world people are watching from. So we had somebody who was watching from Kuwait, which is super cool. Somebody else from Bulgaria, and I know there are other places. We've got someone from South Africa. So I just think it's really cool that people from all over the world are watching and engaging and enjoying our videos. And there's a bunny hopping through the front yard right now. So hopefully that
the dogs don't see it.
Yeah, hopefully the dogs don't see it. Sophie's not a barker, but Bear and Summer can get pretty rowdy. So fingers crossed. But anyway, I think that was all I was going to say. Welcome to the video. Sorry, I got distracted by the bunny. There was one thing I did want to say with the kind of the bump in the subscribers over the last couple of weeks. If you heard about our channel through another Flosstube, please leave a comment and let me know where you heard about us from. If you're newer, I think one of the lovely things about this community is how we all kind of promote one another and help one another to find new friends. And so I'd love to go, say thank you to whoever may have shouted us out. And also, tell folks about their channel just in case, to help other people find them. So please, if you found us recently from someone else's shout out, please do let us know so we can say thank you. Other than that, the only kind of life update is that Summer, our new dog, who you met in our last video, is continuing to settle in well. She's continuing to behave like a rabid dinosaur, but she's coming along, and we're having a lot of fun with her. We had a couple of you in the last video who asked, what breed she is. And so because she is a rescue who was kind of, pulled from, she was a stray. We don't know her breed, but the best guess, just based on her appearance and what the vet and the shelter thought, she looks like she may be part boxer. She's got a little bit of kind of the body and head shape of a beagle. And we've also heard black-mouth cur, which makes a lot of sense because she came from Texas. And I understand that black-mouth curs are a fairly common breed, or a very popular breed there. So those are kind of the best guesses that we have, but short of like doing genetic testing, we're not really sure exactly what she is. But it was really fun, and thank you so much to all of you for welcoming her to the family or to the pack. It was fun to hear kind of about the shenanigans that a number of you have experienced with your dogs, and a lot of you have either new dogs of your own or family members who have new dogs, but it was really funny to know that we're not suffering alone. One of you mentioned that your son's puppy chewed up a bunch of action figures, so we've been lucky to just lose the one. Somebody else was talking about their dog stealing butter off the counter. So, so all in all, I think we're doing pretty well with Summer. We haven't had any major incidents since the action figure debacle that Gary talked about last time. The only other thing with Summer is that she's very quickly turning into a really wonderful stitching buddy, which is a lot of fun. So one of her favorite places to be she likes to jump up on the couch and get as close to me as possible. And she like tucks in right here and then puts her head on my lap right underneath where I'm stitching. And so it's a lot of fun, and it's really sweet to have her as a snuggle friend while I'm stitching. Sometimes she gets in the way a little bit, but she's like so sweet and warm that it's fun to have a stitching buddy who likes to be that close and cuddly. Okay, I think that's it for life updates. So let's get into stitchy goodness. So I've got a couple of fully finished objects to show you before we start talking about the whips that we've been working on in the last couple of weeks. These are really old finishes that have been lingering and in the partially finished bin for a while. And I finally was able to get the fully finishing done on them. So a couple of years ago, and actually some of you that we met at StitchCon in 2022, the piece that I was working on when we were in Ohio for StitchCon was one of these two pieces. So these are both finishes from the Berries and Robins chart pack by Madame Chantilly. Both of them were stitched on 32 count French vanilla swirl Wexford linen and using the called for DMC. And let me show you one at a time. So the first, here we go. And I chose to finish these kind of in a matching frame and mat. So this is just a bunch of robins on sort of a twig with a lot of berries. There are also some white berries on here that they kind of fade into the fabric a little bit, but you can see them in person. And then this is the complementary piece, and this is again, this one is a bunch of robins on a branch, and then over here it says home. And again, the home in white does fade into the fabric a little bit, but you can see it in person okay. So I was so happy to finally get these finished. Like Winter Rose Manor, which we showed you in the last video, these have been mounted for quite a while, and I actually ordered the frames, I think, over a year ago. But it took me forever to actually go and get a mat ordered for them. So I'm really happy with how they turned out. I'm really looking forward to having these somewhere in the house at some point. I think they'll be part of our like winter and Valentine's, probably more Valentine's Day kind of decor. But anyway, wanted to show you these because they've been a long time coming for the fully finishing, just because I finished the stitching on both of these in 2022. So there we are. Okay. All right, whips. So I have worked on a couple of different whips since our last video. The first one I will show you is my Fancy Lady. I am stitching Rose of Sharon, which is an out of chart by Mirabilia. Oh, actually, before I get into that, I want to backtrack just a little bit to mention all of the whips that we show on our video, and actually my fully finished pieces as well. We include a link in the description box below where you can go and find those if you're interested. Every now and then someone will ask me, oh, where'd you get that chart or this chart? So just so you know, anything we talk about, you can find a link to that in the description box if it's something that you're interested in stitching yourself. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Fancy Lady, I'm stitching Mirabilia, Rose of Sharon. This is an out of print chart that was very kindly gifted to me by our friend Sarah from New Zealand. I am stitching mine on a piece of 32 count Meadowview Lugana by Fabric Flair. This is a printed fabric, and I am loving it. So the last time you saw this piece, I was working still. There's a big archway, and at the top of the arch there's a cherub with kind of greenery and roses, and it is a really dense chunk of stitching. So I was kind of working in the center left of that. I had stitched the cherub face and I was kind of working the greenery and the roses down the left side. And then I was working into the skirt of the gown. So I had started stitching just the top of the bustle at the back of her dress. And then there's these beautiful kind of blue lining or blue draping in the bottom part of the skirt, also kind of part of the bustle as it drapes down. And so I had started stitching those and just getting into the skirt. So here's where this is right now. Excuse the wrinkles and the parked threads. So I made quite good progress on this. I have now completely finished the stitching in this kind of central section here and filled in all of the roses and the greenery. The cherub and kind of the top of that arch is all done. And now I've started kind of coming out to the left, or excuse me, the right. And I'm now stitching. You can see where the arch is now kind of coming down, and I'm getting more of the florals in here and then starting to work over here a bit. So I'm really excited to have that big center chunk done because that was just super dense. It is really pretty, and there's a lot of dense stitching that comes down the side of the arch on the left. This one's a little bit less, so it hopefully will go fairly quickly, but that's what's happening there. Then you can also see I was stitching down more through her skirt, so I got quite a bit done in this top section of the bustle of her gown, as well as kind of filling in some of this more dense stitching that's at the front, where the skirt drapes over. So
should bring back the bustle.
We should. You know what? I wish we would.
Put it on jeans.
No.
Bustle jeans.
You know what? I love a bustle dress. A bustle or a hoop skirt. I wish we still wore those. They're beautiful.
Bustle pants.
No, you put bustle pants. Yeah. Would you think I was beautiful in a bustle?
See, that implies there's a time that I think that you're not.
Oh, you're so good. Ladies, find you a partner that compliments you like that. So, all right. So that is Rose of Sharon. The next piece I'm going to show you is my seasonal project. So I have also been working on Honey Gardens by Filigram. I am stitching this on a piece of 32 count Chasescape Lugana by Silkweaver. And I'm using mostly the called for DMC with a couple of colors substituted out. So the last time you saw this, it was a brand new start. And I had just spent a day or two on it and had put in kind of a few of the pieces at the top left corner of the design. So there's a little jar of honey, and I had started stitching the roses and the honeycomb. I've made tremendous progress on this week. And here's where it is now. So you can see I'm now actually, this is the halfway point on the width of the design, and I've stitched all the way over to that. So we've got all of our roses filled in here, the honeycomb, we've got the couple of bees and the flight of another bee here. We've got the queen bee right in the middle. I've finished stitching the first of the two beehives and then started stitching the meadow of flowers here in the middle. There's a whole section of like words and flowers along the bottom I haven't started on yet, but I'm really pleased with how much progress I made this week. This one, for some reason, the first couple of days I was stitching on it this week, it just felt like it was really slow going, but not unenjoyable, but I just was like, at the end of the night when I would kind of track my stitch count, I was like, that's all I did. But then over the last couple of nights, it feels like it just sped up really significantly. So I'm enjoying this one a lot, and really happy that it's stitching up fairly quickly here now that I'm into it. So that is Honey Gardens. So I think next we will go to Gary, and he can talk about what he's been working on.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about what I've been working on, which isn't much. But at any rate, the one that I have spent some time on is Wonder Woman. And I think the last time you saw her, I was, I don't know if I'd filled in any of the colors yet. I might have filled in the blue. But at any rate, I was trying to, well, I can't say I was trying to get it finished. I was thinking I'd have that page finished before, before we shot again. But I didn't, so so there you have it. So anyway, this is what Wonder Woman looks like now, and she's you can see I filled in the red, and if you look at her hair, you can see why I chose that color blue as opposed to the turquoise blue we were showing you guys earlier. I filled in the red, and I started filling in her skin, and I started with her legs. Most of what's left in that side is the skin. There may be 4 other colors right around the eyes that need to be added, but after that, I'll be ready to go on to page 2. But the cool thing about the way it looks now is that it actually looks like it's Wonder Woman. It doesn't look like some weird outline. So I think that's cool. Anyway, that's where I am on her. And as a honorable mention, I'm going to try to work, well, my plan is for this week, try to get Wonder Woman to the next page. And then the following week, I'll start working on Louis Armstrong. I don't know if that means I'll have 1 stitch or several hundred stitches, but we'll see how that turns out. But that's it on my cross stitch progress. The action figures that you see this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day is the day that in the U.S. where they celebrate service members who've passed. So this is Memorial Day weekend. We just happen to be filming on that. So I put some figures up that were kind of commemorative of that. So if you look, you can see the one on your right, that's a Vietnam era nurse. And the one on your left, which is a very cool one, is a Navajo code talker. And they're both G.I. Joes. They came out in the 90s, and I've had them ever since. I got a number of them from the 90s as well. But at any rate, I just thought those two were pretty good representations of it. I got quite a few of them, though. I even have a Minuteman. You'll see that on the 4th of July, or the 4th of July, wherever we land on that. But anyway, so that's where that is. But the last thing I'll tell you about the Navajo code talker is when they were fighting the war, they needed a way to relay messages from the beach to the ships to get fire and supplies and all this stuff brought in. And they needed a code to do that. What they did is they used the Navajo language, but they didn't just use the Navajo language. It was the Navajo language that was encoded. And the Japanese had never heard anything like that. So they did not, as far as I know, they did not break that code. The cool thing about the figure that comes, the code talker that comes, is it has a sheet of the actual words that they used. I'll pick one and see what it does. So this would be, well, I can't even read that, so I'll just try this one. This is, I'm trying to find a word that actually will resonate with people rather than that. Okay, here's one. The English word is transport. The Navajo word, and pardon me if I mispronounce this, is atsa, I believe. Atsa, A-T-S-H-A, or A-T-S-A-H, and the literal translation is eagle. So anyway, there it is. This is the actual code they used in World War II in the Pacific when they were going on the beaches. And thank you for that that history moment. And I won't do it again.
I think you should do it again. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. See.
The other thing, that I would like to mention, because I think it's really cool, is that that Gary is a veteran, and I know Memorial Day is where we honor service members who have fallen, and Veterans Day in the U.S., which falls on the same time as Remembrance Day in the Commonwealth countries, is where we honor both those who have fallen, but also just those who have served.
Them's what still be kicking.
Yes. And Gary actually has served in 2 branches of the U.S. military. So he was he started out in the Navy and spent a lot of time.
6 years.
6 years in the Navy, and then another 6 years in the Army Reserves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay, back to stitching. So the last whip that I have to show you is my weekend stitch. This is Butterfly Port Mauve by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm stitching it on a piece of 28 count white easy grid Lugana, 2/1 using a combination of half stitch and continental stitch. So I've put in about 1,500 stitches on this since the last time you saw it. And when you saw it the last time, I had worked my way down and I was just starting. There's this kind of beautiful peach flower that's on sort of the left-hand side of the design, almost at the halfway down point. And some of you might be hearing Sophie snoring in the background. She's gotten real cozy over by the window there. She's sleeping on the job. Anyway, there's this beautiful peach flower, and I had just started kind of filling in, stitching in some of the top part of that peach flower bed. And that's where a lot of my progress is over the last couple of weeks. So you can see, here's where it is now. And I have done quite a bit of the fill in, especially on the left and the top side of that flower. It's a very creamy, peachy flower. It's really pretty. And then, of course, I've filled in more of the background kind of going down here. But yeah, it's definitely continuing to come along. We're getting close to finishing the third page on this, in this design. So, because I only put in roughly 250 stitches a week, this is a much slower mover than my other projects, but it does consistently get progress, and in the end, that's what counts. So anyway, yeah, that's where I am on that one. So that is it for whips. I do have one other thing I wanted to show you. So some of you, those of you who have been around for a while, know that last year I started dabbling in making project bags, particularly in making my own quilted patchwork project bags. And it's been a little bit of a journey. It was I am still by no means an expert quilted project bag maker. They've gotten good enough that I can gift them, but only to people who don't mind flaws. So they're a bit imperfect, but every bag I make is a little bit better than the one before. So I continue to learn. And I made several of them as Christmas gifts for a couple of close friends who locally who are stitchers, as well as another friend I made a bag for. And and I made a bag for Gary for Christmas as well. I've been so busy this year that I've not had a chance. I've just not had time to sit down and make any other project bags. And so over the last couple of weeks, I finally got a chance to make myself another project bag. So I wanted to show it to you because I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So here is my new project bag, and I think she's really pretty. So this fabric line is, it's My Summer House by Bunny Hill Designs for Moda, for those who are interested. And so I made the patchwork panel. Y'all, I like a big project bag. If you've been here a while, you know I like a big project bag. So I made the patchwork panel and quilted it, and then did, the top sections here. Here's the back, just a pretty little aqua with pink and red houses. And then for the inside of the bag, did this really cute, like multicolored polka dot print. And then used a little charm here, a little like flower basket charm for the zipper pull. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that came out. It's got a few little flaws to it, but it's made with love and it's fine. It's good enough for me. And one of the reasons I really wanted to get on and make a project bag is, one, because I've been buying fabric to make project bags and I've just not been able to get to them. And so I've got a little bit of a backlog. And so I'm hoping to start picking away at that and actually be making some more project bags, just because I really enjoy them and I think they're beautiful. But I also specifically wanted to make this bag because I wanted to kit up a project that I'm going to be starting relatively soon. So my niece has, as she's entering her teen years, she's also entering her Taylor Swift phase. And she, in the last year, has become a bit of a Taylor Swift fan. And so I've found a project that I want to make as a surprise for her birthday later this year. And so I wanted to have a new project bag to kit that up with. So this is going to hold my gift project for my niece, which I'm going to get started on here fairly soon. So that's a preview of things to come. I'm also starting to think about kitting up other things. So it's a little early, but I'm doing a lot of thinking and planning and thinking about some things for my rotation and what I want to be doing next year. So I'm looking forward to that. Planning is a lot of, is a big part of the fun of cross stitch. And so, yeah, I'm enjoying kind of thinking and dreaming and planning ahead for the things I'm going to be stitching. As other than that, like more immediate plans, I'll tell you what Gary and I are going to be working on over the next couple of weeks. So I am going to spend one more day working on honey gardens and see how much farther I can get that. Then I'm going to spend a week working on my wild card design, which is Cabin Fever, which is starting to really come along. I know that's a lot of fun. I'm also going to spend a week working on my full coverage piece, which is Rose Trellis In, and increasingly looking forward to, to getting more work on that, just because it's at a really great point right now. And so it's just been a lot of fun to work on. After that, I may kind of move a few things around in my rotation. I'm getting ready for another work trip, so I'm heading back to Kenya in a couple of weeks. And this time we'll be going to the Kenyan coast, to the city of Mombasa for some meetings that are happening there. So I've been thinking about what it is I want to take with me on that trip. Because and what's going to be a good stitchy piece to take along for my travels. So I may switch up the order of the rotation a little bit. So stay tuned for that. I'll probably tell you more about that in the next video update. But I think that kind of does it for us for now. We don't have a whole lot more to share with you, so we'll let you get on to the next video. If you enjoy our videos, I do hope you'll stick around. Please do give us a thumbs up. It definitely helps us in the YouTube algorithm because, if you get the thumbs up, then YouTube promotes your video more and you get to reach more people. Please do feel free to leave a comment. We really love interacting with you in the comments. It does sometimes take me, longer than I would like to get to read through all the comments, but we do read all of them. And it gives us a lot of joy just to interact with you and hear what's going on with you and what you're stitching on and how you're doing. So we do read all of them. I try to make sure I put at least a heart or a little thank you on all of them. You can also hit the bell for notifications if you'd like to get an update from YouTube when we post a new video. And you can follow me between videos on Instagram. I'm globetrotting_stitcher, or you can email us at globetrottingstitcher@gmail.com. So I think that does it for us. But we'll look forward to seeing you soon, and we wish you happy stitching. Take care. Bye.